I had initially wanted to make the last video of the year a recap type video, but considering I went incognito for the majority of the year, I felt like a whole video was a little unnecessary. In case you've just discovered this channel, welcome! Here is a quick recap of some of the games I've covered in the past and what I thought of them.
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
What's wrong with this one? That's horrible. No, you know what that is? That's horror awful. That's horrible and awful mixed together. Horror awful.
I do have a category of games that were hard to decide on my actual verdict for. Some I felt like I was a little too harsh about, but it's sometimes difficult to come to a full conclusion with only being given a demo to judge how I feel the rest of the game as a whole will be when it releases. That's kind of how I feel about this game that I'm covering in today's video. So without any further ado, let's jump into Super Fantasy Kingdom. According to the developer, Fairy Eye Spears' own listing, Super Fantasy Kingdom is a roguelite city builder set in a relaxing fantasy world. I don't know the lives of the developers, but a world where you have to fight off hordes of monsters attacking you every day doesn't really seem all that relaxing. It's your goal to defeat these hordes while you also manage your kingdom by harvesting, building, mining, feeding your heroes, and growing in hopes to expand a little bit more with each session you play. When you are inevitably defeated, you can use a currency to increase your leader's stats to help you have a little bit more staying power alongside the varied amount of helpers you can gain from several visits from NPCs. Defeating monsters also gives you a currency that allows you to expand your kingdom and opens up the world for new heroes to recruit and more roguelite elements to purchase, making future runs hopefully go a little bit smoother. In principle, I think a lot of the elements of a roguelite come together in a really cool and cohesive way, but even so, there are a few problems that I can spot with the game. There is already so much variance between runs, but on the same note, there's also very little variance. My build order for my kingdom must be done in a specific way if I want to unlock the second hero offered to you on day 6. This makes it really hard to try different build orders, but it really wouldn't matter if I wanted to because there's just not enough space to build a gold mining and a smelter, and to build all the buildings required to make bread, so you just kinda have to pick one and stick with it because there's really no going back. I think there's a fundamental error in the game where it's just too much learning by trial and error. With so many different units to recruit, and too many icons and keywords, there needs to be a system where hovering over an icon or a keyword gives you a description. On top of that, being able to see the range of a unit before purchasing would be extremely beneficial. My best guess is that the developer knows you'll have to reset so many times that you'll eventually give everything a chance and just know it, but the opposite happens. After a few runs, I just specifically chose the units I knew were good because I got burned too much by giving the other ones a chance. I've played many roguelikes and roguelites over the years, and I feel like the best ones make sure that the player has a set understanding of the game before expanding to different approaches or strategies. A lot of this comes from trial and error, however the more knowledge you can give a player, the quicker they can understand the mechanics of a game. Another key missing aspect of the game that is honestly a bit frustrating is the lack of some sort of targeting system for your units. Bloons Tower Defense is a perfect example of utilizing this. It gives the players the ability to target the front, back, strongest, or closest bloons, which gives the player a depth of choosing how they want to set things up to the best of their ability. Super Fantasy Kingdom has a tower defense element to it, but no targeting system that the player can employ. Instead, according to a mod on their Discord server, some of the unique units have a different targeting system baked into them already. They elaborated by saying that monks target the furthest, crossbow is random, halflings target the closest, etc. They expanded to say that it becomes a tactical decision on what heroes you take, but I understand it as too much variance to be a solid basis for a well-designed game. Without knowing the targeting system as well as what sort of range circle a unit will have, it really makes picking a hero less tactical and more just luck, because you just have to hope you get presented with the units you know are good on top of knowing what they can do. There just feels like too much writing on RNG for this game to have any basis for strategy and skill other than to just do XYZ and you'll win, which at that point makes the whole aspect of a roguelite pointless. With all that being said, I can see the appeal for this game, and it's by far the most time I spent in any demo for this series. The music is really nice, the units are vastly different from one another, and there is a good depth and strategy on where you place your buildings as to minimize the walking time of your workers. I'll admit that it did a good job of sinking its hooks into me despite my apprehension to what I think might be slightly predatory game design. It's a simple game that has charm, and even with those thoughts in the back of my mind, it's hard to not give it a good rating. This is probably one of my weirder videos, as I do have some serious gripes about one or two aspects of the game, but if some of the issues I talked about in this video were addressed, then I'd likely give it the Procyon seal of approval. As it sits though, I think it's just a game that check out if you really enjoy city builders and don't mind having to grind for a while in order to progress to any sort of in-game style of gameplay. That'll be it for this video. I hope everyone has a great holiday season, new year, and a great day. And as always, be kind to one another. Once again, huge thanks to my Patreon supporters Relativity and Naughty Dog is King, as well as all of my subscribers. Please consider leaving a like or comment as I reply to all my comments, and if you feel like you want to, please consider subscribing as I hope to ramp up with more and even better content next year.